This is Comic Picks by the Glick.
Hey, and I'm your host, Jason Glick.
Hey, Jason, what's going on?
Hey, not much as usual.
All right.
Yeah, so John, let me tell you, like, from what I understand, like, you're not big on fantasy, are you?
I like fantasy. I don't delve into it as much.
Yeah, but from what I understand, you told me once that, like, the only return for you is Return of the Jedi.
That was actually Sebastian. He is he's very much an anti-fantasy person. So me, I don't mind fantasy. I don't actively pursue it that much though. How's that?
Okay, I got you. Mm-hmm. Basically, this week I'm talking about a fantasy series. One of the series I've followed for like a while, but didn't actually get back into until Comic-Con earlier this year. Mm-hmm. Okay, because those of you who've read my blog posts on the website for Comics by the Glick, probably note that I said I was going to do a podcast on poison elves. Yeah, because basically, and this is it. This is it right here.
This is the podcast. Welcome.
Yes,
Poison Elves one.
Yeah,
yes.
Okay. Yeah, because Poison Elves is a series by a guy named Drew Hayes. It's basically about elfing Lucifer. Lusiphur.
Oh, cool.
Not
the other guy.
Yeah, Lucifer Malachet. Mm-hmm. Basically, goes through this fantasy world. Basically, getting the short end of the stick every single time. Like he's basically been like a real angry gritty elf. He's basically parents died when he was young. He was adopted. Parents died again. Wound up growing up on the streets of this big city. Wound up going to prison for a while, and is just basically angry at the society at large. Just like everyone he goes to, it's like, oh man, it's like, why you gotta be like this, bitch? I'm gonna kill you now. that kind of thing. And this series gained a fair amount of notoriety in its early years because this is back in the early '90s. Back in the day when it's actually possible to self-publish your own series. I mean, this is like when you're like, you don't have to like go through like a big distributor like Diamond. I mean, you just like go like set up like got your operations in your garage and just go from there. And its creator Drew Hayes, he did this for 20 issues of the series, and for a while there he named the series I, Lucifer. Then he realized once, hey, people like kept asking him like, are you a Satanist? Is your character like based on Satan? It's like, you worship the devil? Like, stuff like that. He just basically said, no, shut up, no, god damn it. Because this one of those characters where he freely admits in his introductions that, hey, you know what, I had a million reasons in my mind why I named this guy Lucifer, but, people just kept on grasping on like the obvious one. So he changed the series name to Poison Elves, and as he says, the series sales went up from there and didn't stop. But the series history can basically split into two different histories. One, when he was posting it by itself, and two, when it was picked up by Sirius Publishing. Okay, now the first 20 issues were printed in four trade paperbacks or one volume, if you want to pick up the Mulehide Years trade paperback from Sirius. Basically, he established the character of Lucifer and his world at large. I mean, it's on one hand, like, the series, it's not groundbreaking fantasy storytelling, but it's the work of a guy who recognizes the conventions of fantasy storytelling and knows how to give them a great yank. Yeah, because with Lucifer's world, I mean, it's like it's your standard fantasy world, and you got elves, you got magic, like a standard like feudal type of society, but there's more modern trappings, like with the dialogue, with the use of firearms and such, that it's more distinct than say your average Lord of the Rings style fantasy world and all. Mm-hmm. And the first couple of volumes spend the time establishing that, basically with Lucifer matching wits with a demon lord from the lower dimensions, from Resurrection Man who robs graves in order to provide medieval forensic scientists with their bodies they use. The Purple Marauder, who basically hates anything with a vagina.
Huh.
Yeah, and just having him like do some nice breaking and entering action for Priceless Diamond, and also matching with the guy who can go into like search out your dreams and give you your greatest fantasy while feasting upon it as well. And even his ex-wife, who was a great sorceress, but they just weren't meant for each other. I mean, it's great. It's great fun. It's it's especially enjoyed if you have like a nice sociopathic bent, like main character Lucifer does, because he's not a big fan of society at all. And if you're not the kind of person who fits into society at large, you're going to get a kick out of this. And it's like great. He's a great anti-hero, and he's like a lot of people he encounters with are basically deserving of this derision, including this one huge countess who he winds up bedding for a while, but just ends up badly after he finds out that she's a serial killer as well. Yeah. But the real highlight of his self-publishing years is Volume 3, which is called Desert of the Third Sin, where he basically frees a genie, who basically winds up getting him 3 issues. One is for a legendary sword called Sin Latch. 2 is for speed, to be the fastest elf ever. 3 is for a orb called the Well of Souls, which is basically something that can just like snatch the soul from anyone, and then destroy it as he commands. Now it sounds like great stuff to wish for, but the problem is that all of these items come with a price, because they're all owned by someone else. The sword by a legendary elven war duke named Alwan Sant Venlach, who Lucifer finds up fighting to the death. The speed comes from the magic power by a wizard named the Tenth, who Lucifer winds up dueling in a quest to take on various animal guises in order to fight on. And the orb is owned by an extra-dimensional assassin by the name of Widowmaker. He's an Ezja, a type of being who can only be killed one way, either by cutting off his head, by drowning, stick through the heart. He can die. You just got to find the right way to kill him. And that's just a great story, great storyline that just it takes all the consequences he's got and just explores them to the full extent. Great stuff. And even the last volume, which is called Patrons, is only 2 issues, but also has a lot of fun because it also gives you a better introduction to his partner in crime, Jason Lenegrath, an elf who's basically just been on the straight and narrow for a while, but after he meets up with Lucifer, he's the kind of guy who he'd like to be, and they just go on various quests for a while. These are only 2 issues, but they're some of the most fun of the entire series. Now, I also have to say that I've got the original Mulehide run in its 4 volumes. Now, while I don't know if the Omnibus edition, which collects all 4 volumes in one, contains all these, but Hayes gives a lot of great introductions, because they shed a light on the specifics of self-publishing in the mid to early 90s. And it's fun seeing him talk about all the economic realities and necessities of what do I need in order to start being a self-publisher, and what happens to me when I become a successful self-publisher, and that does actually make things easier for me now. Yeah, it's great stuff and it's fascinating. To be honest, I'd like more introductions like these actually talk about the realities of publishing and what actually goes into creating a series. I mean, it's great stuff, and I wish there was more of this in just any other into the series I read. But there's not, and to the end, I'll have to console myself with these right here. Now, after the first 4 volumes and 20 issues, Drew Hayes was picked up by Sarius Publishing, and he rebooted Poison Elves from issue 1. Basically, you got Lucifer. He's on a made a step at normal living, and he's gonna go from there and try to live a normal life as a fisherman and with a city girlfriend. That doesn't work out well because being a fisherman sucks, and his girlfriend's a bitch. So basically, after he realizes this, and after a dwarven assassin comes calling for him, he basically makes clean break of his old life, of his new life, and then just kills everyone and just goes after the dwarven assassin, which leads him to the Sanctuary. Now, the Sanctuary is a group of assassins and thieves led by the elf Barachi, one of the a secret member of the Elven High Council. And so Lucifer basically winds up going to them and being the assassin there. Now, the Sanctuary arc runs a massive 3 volumes and 39 issues of the regular series. To be honest, to say that a 39 issue arc sounds like a massive undertaking by any means, but with the way Hayes was planning things, it was a real seed of your plants pants plotting. I mean, he was just going he had an idea of what he wanted to do, and he just went like from issue to issue, like going from like the first 24 was him setting up his overall things, and the next 15 were just him just wrapping those up in the best way he can. I mean, it's good stuff because like. I don't know. The one if he had plotted this out from the beginning, it probably would have gotten boring. But as he's going, like as you can feel, he's going from issue to issue, trying to work things out. It's fascinating stuff because like you just see him developing his craft as he goes on from there. But there's also the issue that like there's a lot of interesting stuff like him like Hayes explaining the differences between modern and medieval forensic technologies, the war between two guilds, Lucifer falling in love with a fellow assassin and having that love brutally taken away, and him finding his friendship again with Jace. Some of this stuff is either like happens developed too slowly or just goes by at the blink of an eye. I mean, it's like I don't think it's like it's definitely bad art by any means. I mean, it's like you read this and it's like it's good stuff. You look at this, but you realize you wish he had more of an editorial presence. Just tell him like I think you should have like just developed this a bit more, or just like just cut back on this right here. But it's overall entertaining stuff, and basically the Sanctuary arc takes you up to around volume 7 of the overall series. And to be honest, that might actually be a good place to stop. Not because there's an overall drop off in the quality of the series, but you see, Hayes is no longer doing this series because he died in March of 2007.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he was suffering from pneumonia at the time. He had a heart attack as well. Mm-hmm. So he hadn't done an issue of the series since 2004 due to health issues. He had done 79 issues of the series so far, which basically takes you up to volume 11 of the series. But since then, there's been mostly nothing because he's gone.
Yeah,
and it's tragedy because on one hand, it's like like I said at the beginning, the series isn't like a revolutionary fantasy series, but like he knew how to give the series of the conventions of the genre a great twist, and to not be able to see him carry them out to the end of the series. I'm disappointed. It's like, to be honest, like it's more comparable when I heard that Phil Hartman died.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like he was a great guy. Like, I always loved like hearing his voice in The Simpsons, and like when he was able to say he was going to be around forever, and then he died, and like we're not going to hear him anymore. Mm-hmm. Now that Drew Hayes is gone, we're not going to see him like develop his craft or tell the story of Lucifer and anyone else anymore.
It's an unfinished story, really at that point. But
yeah, it's like the subsequent volumes, like let's see, volumes 8, 9, and 10, they generally aren't that bad. I mean, like if I read volume 10, basically maybe gave me the impetus to actually do this podcast in the first place. But overall, it's like on one hand, it's like if you as a listener have issues with like not reading unfinished stuff, then like see volume 7, the end of the Sanctuary arc, might be a good place to stop. You also read volume 8, which is basically Lucifer and Jace just doing random stuff in their world, is also fun as well.
Sure.
Okay. Then you've also got the spin-off series that he did as well, which are pretty entertaining for the most part. Well, mostly anyway. Mm-hmm. You got the Lucifer and Lilith series, which basically tells you about Lucifer's relationship with his first true love, Lilith, a healer who they obviously had a breakup because he's a killer, she wanted to be a healer, all because he went and almost got himself killed at one point. And it's good stuff right there. I recently reread it, and it holds up generally pretty well. The other series that worked pretty well was the Parentachin spin-off, which basically tells you about the imp that lives in Lucifer's head. Basically, it's his job to keep. He's the imp who escaped from hell, and he's living in Lucifer's head. And he's just killing time, just making sure things go well, and that things don't get too crazy up there. Now, the Parentachin series wasn't done by Hayes, but it was done by the Philbach brothers, who actually have a really good handle on the character and the Poison Elves world at large. And overall, it's like for spin-off series, this is actually one of the better ones that I've read, because like these guys, the Philbach brothers, have a really twisted and surreal sense of storytelling that matches really well with Hayes' sensibilities. Like, so if you're worried about picking this up because it's not going to mesh well with the overall series, then I'd say, like, forget those, because, like, it works really well. The other series that I talk about in my blog, the Ventures series, Hyena and a Marlin, yeah, they're not all bad, but they're just kind of like, just filler stuff that you need not concern yourself with. So, overall, I'm saying, like, it's a very entertaining series that I'd recommend to anyone who just, like, who thinks that most the fantasy series are about, like, elves, or like beautiful elves doing beautiful shit, like in Lord of the Rings. Mm-hmm. But if you're looking for, like, just, like, dryly sarcastic, cynical stuff, then I'd highly recommend you check this series out, because it's overall, it's a lot of fun. And it's treasure you're not going to see more, but, hey, that's life.
You appreciate what is there, and you go on with it. Yeah,
exactly.
And I mean, to not read it would be, a disservice to yourself. But to read it and appreciate it is probably a better way to honor his memory, and you realize, wow, you appreciate it more. You know what I mean?
Indeed. To be honest, I asked if this series probably would have made a good, like, episode of fantasy series, like, in the vein of Hercules or Xena, like, yeah. the kind of like entertaining fantasy series you watch on the weekends.
Yeah, right.
But it's like we're probably going to see that anytime soon. But overall, I'd say it's a lot of fun and worth your time. Like, the first few volumes can be found in one for the as Mulehide years. Volumes 5 through 11 can be found easily on Amazon as well. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, and on that note, hopefully I'll be back next week with telling you about the explosion of a series that when its creator didn't die in the process of its creation. Mm-hmm. Okay, and on that note, we're calling it a night, everyone.
All right, see you next time.
Laters.